Why do I need to leave?
Because this is our party and you need to get out of my church.
Is this not a, is this not a,
Claudia, please.
No.
Yeah, let her talk.
What reason do you have a reason to record this meeting? Why do you want to?
why do I want to record it? Is this not a very important meeting to this subdivision? Is it possible that people that are not here might like to know what goes on tonight? Is that possible? It's not possible? Okay, is this an open meeting or not?
No.
It's not an open meeting.
Everyone stay calm. Everyone stay calm. Everyone stay calm, please. This is a meeting, again, the homeowners who are concerned about.
You need to get out of my church. This is my church and you need to
Okay.
leave.
Is your pastor here? I'll
And
see
you
you.
I'll
can see
call
we
him.
got a difference of
Okay.
opinion
Bring him
here
on.
in several-
Get out of there and put the
several
gun
ways.
down now. I'll call the law.
Call.
Okay, I'm gonna call the law.
Just go right ahead.
You need, this is not your place.
I'm just a homeowner. You can put the camera for me. Will I be able to take a camera into the next homeowners association meeting?
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely.
This is not an open meeting.
We have open meetings. Every meeting is an open meeting. And if there's anything to be said here that shouldn't be repeated again, so be it.
We'd like to see a hand of voters here who would rather this not be recorded. Raise your hand.
You need to leave now.
Okay, those who would be happy to have this recorded, please raise your hand.
We have the majority. We have the majority of the county.
So let's duly note that this is being recorded. We do not support the
Rick's
recording.
calling, please.
Let's move
Go right
on.
ahead.
So, who has not received deed restrictions? Can I please get a hand of anyone who has not received a copy of deed restrictions? Anyone? Okay, good, very good. Is Claudia here? Do you have copies? Okay. Did anyone not bring their deed restrictions tonight? Sheriff? Someone need a copy of deed restrictions tonight? A copy over here, please. Back in the back, Claudia.
Grow a little.
We are in less tonight, although we don't have a November meeting for the homeowners association board, we do have members of the homeowners board here tonight. So we might be able to ask a few questions directed to them to get some clarification on some things. If necessary. Everybody who wants a copy, have a copy? Hello, future home. We ready to go? Okay, what we want to do tonight is just go through the deed restrictions that are proposed and talk about the concerns that have been raised by a few people. The letter, Teresa, you're here tonight. The letter that was sent with the deed restrictions was dated October 18th, but it arrived November 7th. Was there a particular reason for that?
No, we just.
Was it dated properly?
No, it was.
No reason? Okay, thank you. Looks like we have had a question of who will count the ballots. Can the board answer that? Who will count the ballots?
They'll be counted one at a time, and they will be counted fairly and with everybody can see it because they have to be recorded. If it passes, they have to be recorded in the county. So it'll be at the, whenever
Who
they
will
pass.
count them?
Who?
Who the people name?
The board.
We have, the board will count them, and if there is someone else that wants to look at them, they're happy to.
Can we be present at the county?
You can see them once we're counted, yes.
Can we be present at the county?
Well, that kind of is hard to do when everybody's sending theirs in to everyone, so when they're all getting and gathered, so they're being counted as they're coming in. So yes, once they're all in one concise area, then you'll be happy to see all of them. You sure can, not a problem.
Okay, thank you. Oh, there's a copy right there. Okay, so did we hear where the ballots would be counted?
To where they're being counted?
Where will they physically be counted?
We don't have an address per
Okay,
se.
don't know. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to number 3. On page 1, Architectural Review Committee, established and empowered. That's a verb meaning to give power or authority to authorize, especially by legal or official means. So when you give the architectural control, whenever it's appointed to someone to be a part of that board, they're getting the legal power to make decisions on your property in this particular subdivision. What I understand from these deed restrictions, there will be at least three people appointed by the president of the homeowners board to appoint 3 or more people to the architectural review committee. We don't know who currently is in the architectural review committee other than one Garza. I don't have others. You are also, and your name is?
Victor Macias.
Thank you, sir. So hopefully we'll know who they are. These deed restrictions don't show anywhere where they will tell us who those people are. Let me go on to the next one on page 4. Passenger vehicles. This is another concern that has been raised. Only a car pickup on driveway. That means no 18-wheelers are allowed. No pickup adapted for commercial use. If you have a pickup that has a sign on it that says any sort of company will not be allowed in the subdivision. 1-ton truck has not been adapted or modified for commercial use. That's what it says. No vehicles of any kind may be parked overnight on any street in the subdivision. A concern that has been raised. On page 5, we're showing. Sure, you're right. I was just trying to get through these. Anybody have any questions about or concerns about the driveways, the parking? Yes, ma'am?
Well, yeah, because I only have that small driveway in there, so does that mean nobody can park on my front lawn there when I have company?
The deed restrictions say no, they cannot. They cannot park overnight. They cannot park in an easement. Yes, ma'am?
Where do they, when you have company, or people over, where are they supposed to park?
Anybody from the board will answer that one, because I got on mine. The deed restrictions is that they don't.
We have a party or something?
Well, that's a county issue. We have a vehicle in the road. Wanda Gibson.
No, I mean on my lawn.
You're not a member of the board, so arresting the board. Thank you.
He's on the committee.
It's an architectural review, we're asking about parking.
Well, then you don't want.
And so whenever you have someone come to your parties, do they stay overnight? Are they going to park in the street? I know that you frequently in that yard right in front of your house there, and that's in the grass there. I would think if they're not overnight, as the deed restrictions say, then that's fine. And it's going to be in the street. Then that's a county.
That's an easement.
It's an easement, it's once they're over that white line.
It's proposed.
Proposed. People park on the street all the time around my house. It doesn't bother me a bit. I mean,
It's a county issue. It's not, doesn't do nothing.
county has never come
Right.
instead of work.
Always now, trust me, if it gets.
There have been 2 tickets written in the neighborhood so far that I'm aware of by the police officer.
So let's get the floor, let's be organized about it, okay? Debbie, go ahead.
I just was saying that if I'm not mistaken, we were talking about the tickets that were written by the guy that's, the one we're paying for, the security guard that we're paying for.
He's not security, he's traffic enforcement, yes?
Yes, but he's there for purposes of security, isn't he?
For traffic enforcement.
He's the constable.
Right.
Our current deed restrictions say traffic enforcement. Gail, I'm sorry, she was.
I was just saying that for years, no tickets were ever written for people overnight on the street, and all of a sudden, in the last 3 weeks, tickets
Or
are
in the
being
easement,
written.
out of the street.
Or on easement in the yard.
Okay.
So when my son comes in for the holiday, and it's gonna be overnight for a couple nights, he can't park under the tree that he's parked under for.
If these deed restrictions are passed, the answer is
Where
no.
do you read that says they can't park overnight?
Oh, good, thank you very much for that question. Let me find it for you real quick.
If I'm not mistaken, the president said that they can't park on the.
She did, she asked me a good question, so I'm gonna find it real quick.
It's page 4, paragraph C, the last sentence. No vehicles of any kind may be parked
overnight on any street in the subdivision.
So it's page 4, section C, the last sentence. No vehicles of any kind may be parked overnight on any street in the subdivision.
Any
Well, we
street.
can park in the grass, right?
No. Well, not on the, no, it says not on the grass.
On the law, if you park on the street overnight, you're gonna get a ticket.
Those of you,
We're not talking about the law here.
I know, you probably won't. I mean, what cop comes into the neighborhood ever besides water? But she's saying that.
okay, hold on, just one second, I'll show you where it says that.
Yeah, I'm translating what she said. You cannot park on the grass. But that's, here it says, no vehicles of any kind overnight on the street, that's it.
It's a very good question, very good statement.
I've never heard of that law. You can't park on the county street. State law says you can camp, pull over on the side of the road and sleep overnight if you feel necessary. That's a state law in Texas. It's one of the few states that allow that. You're saying the county goes against the state? I mean, something's wrong with that picture.
Yes, sir. Of course.
I asked, because I hadn't heard about the tickets being given out. I went and asked the constable that we hired, and he said he was told to do it by the board.
He was told to do that by the board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. May I ask a question?
Of course, yes, ma'am.
It says here no one-ton truck. Now, there's some people in our neighborhood that drive trucks for a living. I'm not talking about 18 years. Okay. And have done it for over 20 years. They parked in their driveway. Are you telling me they can't do that now?
These restrictions say that you cannot.
Right now, it's set up at 3/4 ton, so the deed restrictions that are now enforced, it's at 3/4 ton.
Okay.
I know a guy who drives an 18-wheeler. He has a beautiful home. He's always kept up with his truck, always kept up with the yard. He's never violated any issue. He's never violated anybody's property. And you're saying you're against him. Why?
Section C says, that we talked about, ma'am, one-ton truck which has not been adapted or modified for commercial use. So if you have a one-ton truck or smaller, and you put a commercial sign on it, you've adapted it for commercial use. So these current restrictions say that it cannot be parked in the
Although they don't have the grandfather clause,
That's correct.
these people's home, they have lived there for 20-some-odd years and raised their children there. And they,
You're right. And now we're going to say they can't do it.
And now they can't do it.
It's set up, but the deed restrictions we have now says the 3/4 is the same. It just, we raised it. It says nothing larger than a 3/4 ton.
Well, then change it so you can go larger.
The changes don't say that. The changes say that you can't have a commercial vehicle, period. That's different than what's allowed now.
I agree, but what I'm saying is, if they're out of compliance at a 1 ton, if they're larger than a 1 ton, they're out of compliance with the ones we have now. So.
But why doesn't the grandfather clause come in when you figure they've lived there for 20-some
Well,
odd
I
years?
agree with you, ma'am, but I mean, there's a grandfather clause in here, but what I'm saying is they're out of compliance with the deed restrictions we have now, that are in effect now.
So if you never enforce them before.
But they've never been
how are you
enforced.
gonna enforce all of this?
I'm just telling you what it says now.
I'm not arguing with you, Pat, I'm trying to figure it out.
If enforce the easier ones, how are we gonna enforce all of these? I don't know what I'm doing.
If I may, Julie, if I may,
Sir, I'm here.
if I may address the question.
Of course, Bob.
These restrictions are basically guidelines. They're guidelines that your board tries to go by. They have to have some set of rules. We've had a set of rules in here from the inception. All the rules have not always been followed. They've not always been enforced, such as the truck situation. The new guidelines loosened up the rules. They didn't tighten them up, they loosened the rules. They increased the size of the vehicle. Okay, they increased the size of the vehicle. Whether it'll be enforced or not depends upon who the board is at the moment.
Well, you don't want that. That'll just depend on what.
Okay, well, let me finish, if I might finish. We also have any number of vehicles in here. Perhaps you've seen them. I certainly have. We've had some dualies in here with 30-foot trailers parked on the streets overnight. Okay? We've had a number of those. Okay, is that okay? You know, what is okay, what isn't okay? Granted, some things we like, some things we don't like. The deed restriction committee went over a bunch of deed restrictions on a bunch of neighborhoods, took our restrictions that we started with, we modified them to the best of our ability, and what you see is what they came up with, which is in many cases loosened up some of the restrictions and at the same time tightened up some other things. So it's an overall, it's a lot of effort was put into it, and they're not trying to penalize. Right now, you really think, right now, Mr. Lamascus over here and Ms. McAnally are in violation right this moment, putting up a sign, okay? That sign's in violation. Do you think we're going to write them up or take them to court tomorrow because of it? No. Does this board normally do that? How many of you have been taken to the court by this board? Anybody? Mr. Lamascus. Anyone else?
You have, sir, have you been taken?
No, okay, so only one person on the current restrictions, such as they are, only one person in this room has been taken to court by this board.
It's
So,
been stated clearly by the board for several years now that the deed restrictions are not lending itself to write anything, any liens or support because they're so, what was the word that was used?
they're rather loose, okay? And the new restrictions spelled out right now, if we want to,
Vague, I think it was.
right now, if we want to go after somebody for a poorly maintained lot, we have to call it a nuisance, okay? If the grass is a foot high, it has to be a nuisance. We have to file it as a nuisance. Well, the new restrictions give a little bit better guidelines on that, and also provide if someone's not maintaining their property, and that's what this is all about, maintaining property, maintaining our values, okay? If you don't maintain your property and your values, it hurts all of us, okay? The new restrictions allow for a penalty if you get notified by the board that you're in violation, you don't get it fixed within a certain amount of time, the board has the right to go fix it and charge you for it. That's brand new, and that's very important. But how many of you are in violation on any given day,
Mr.
or any given
Maxwell, you
month?
addressed the question, and I appreciate it. I'd like to take the floor now. Thank you. We're going to go to our next concern, which is, and sir, I have your question being researched right now. I'll get back to you on that before the end of the meeting. Page 8, 51% of Bridgestone, Bridgestone. Let's look at that on page 5, if you will. What page is it on? It's page 8, number 5 on my list. I'm sorry, page 8. Section F, exterior finish. It says the exterior of the residential dwelling on each lot must be comprised of at least 51% regular stone. All exterior finishes must be approved by the Architectural Review Committee as to type, size, color, and application. No concrete block, or cinder block shall be used as a finished exterior surface. Any concrete block, or cinder block utilized in the construction of a residential dwelling or for retaining walls and foundations shall be finished with the same materials used for the remainder of the residential dwelling. Gutters installed in the residential dwelling shall blend to be painted to blend with other exterior materials which are adhered to or attached. Well, that's great to me, except hardy plank is a concrete material. Stucco is a concrete material. If you'll skip with me to page 26, I'm going to show you the aha moment of this particular rule. Section 8.4, a Effective date existing violations. The provisions of these restrictions shall become effective upon reporting. Any permanent improvement which existed prior to this date of restrictions are recorded and which are not in compliance with the restrictions shall not be required to be abated or removed. So that's fantastic, isn't it? If you already have stucco on your house, you're okay. If you don't have 51% of brick on your house, you're okay. If you use hardy plank, you're okay. All right, isn't that wonderful? Let's read on. However, any such conditions or improvements are voluntarily or involuntarily removed, abated, or discontinued after the date of these restrictions are recorded. Such conditions or improvements may not be renewed or replaced in a manner inconsistent with these restrictions. So when your wood rots, you can't put wood back.
You can replace it with wood.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Any such conditions or improvements are voluntary or involuntarily removed, abated, or discontinued after the date of these restrictions are recorded. Such conditions or improvements may not be renewed or replaced in a manner inconsistent with these restrictions.
Some people have gravel driveways as a side driveway. If you do anything with that gravel, your sort of grandfather, the word grandfather never appeared anywhere, but if you have that now, you can't add anything to it. Once you do that, you're not grandfather, you just messed it up. Now, you're under new restrictions, now you have to pay it. You can't improve anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything that's grandfathered, you can't improve, you can't touch it.
Are they saying that you have to have 51% brick or stone on your house?
Yes.
New construction.
That's new construction and any improvements, any changes made to your existing dwelling. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Maybe someone else can sit, look at the same brick for 20 or 30 years, but I get bored with stuff like that. I see nothing wrong with people that take their houses and others. To me, that just, I mean, I go pay money to see historical houses that don't have any brick on.
And I think that's great, you know, it's wonderful that you have an opinion and that we have a place to talk about it tonight. What I want to focus on is these restrictions are telling, we've been given by the board a cause of action. We need to act on these. We need to vote yes or we need to vote no. Okay? Not just yes or no on this one or that one, but yes or no to all of them. So we wanted to gather tonight and talk about the deed restrictions and what our concerns are. Pardon me?
Do you know why you should be voting in one document?
This is Juan Garza, the head of the Architectural Control Committee. Do you know why it has to be voted all in one document is what your question is to me. And you ask me a question, you do this quite often. You ask a question so you can tell me your answer. So what is your answer?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you, what is your answer to that?
Okay. The answer to that is because everything has to work in everything refers back to each other, just like any law, like any other legal restrictions. Everything refers, this page refers back to that page, to that page, to that page. By voting on single items like that, it's going to make it extremely difficult to be enforced in that way.
And I can say to you, sir, that we don't have to change the deed restrictions. We can also file with the county clerk's office documents that are that have been voted in by the entire subdivision. That is called a let's see what that's called. And I'll give it to you just 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. So we can look at these and we can go in and look at each one of these situations and these rules and vote on those, and we can record what's called a policy for each one of those through the county clerk's office. So there's a way to do that, and there are other neighborhoods who have done that. This is not the only way to vote all yes or all no on that thing. Yes, sir. He has
My question is this: if these are basically guidelines, these are supposed to be a basic guideline or a basic roadmap for what we're supposed to do, why are there sanctions in place by the homeowners association in order to place sanctions on homeowners that don't come in compliance? If it's a broad guideline or it's a tipping scale, so to speak, as to what you cannot do, then why are we put in a position where we have to say, yes, we're going to agree with this, or no, we're not going to agree with that? Well, we only had about 10 days to even consider what the homeowners association has even brought up to bear to the people that are paying taxes in this neighborhood. And the last time I asked this question to some homeowners association members, that you were there, was because y'all said it was caught up in litigation. If these things are really good for our neighborhood, and they're really gonna improve the quality of life for everybody here that's paying taxes, why would we be tied up in litigation if it's good for the neighborhood? That shouldn't have any bearing whatsoever on what's better for the neighborhood. Can you answer that?
I don't know what was tied up in litigation. I don't even know what you're referring to.
You should know. You're the president of the homeowners association.
Well,
Wouldn't you know what's going on? I mean, you
I
should
don't know.
know.
I've never even spoken to you, so I know that you didn't address me in a meeting with that way, so I don't know what you're referring to. If another board
She's
member
correct.
knows.
This is her first time.
I apologize.
Yeah, I know, I'm not.
Now, the questions I've asked to other board members is this.
Okay, and you are, sir? I don't know you either.
Yeah, you do. You just don't remember me. My name's Mark Connor. I live in 1114.
Oh, okay, Mark, yeah, I recognize you now.
My
Okay.
question to the board members that were here last time when they left abruptly before we could have voice some of the questions we had, because we didn't really have a forum, so to speak. We've been able to speak, but we haven't been able to have an exchange between homeowners, which we should be able to have, is this. Why would a lawsuit for open records be requested for a homeowners association that's supposed to provide these things by state law?
No one ever asked for them. Lawsuit came first.
Okay.
Lawsuit came first.
No, sir, that's not true.
All right, let's just take that completely out of the equation.
Okay.
Why would that affect the changes to the deed restrictions in Ramblewood Estates? What difference would that possibly make to let the homeowners association, let the people that are actually paying taxes in this residence or in this residential area know what's going on in their neighborhood? What impact would they have whatsoever?
None.
Then why, at the last meeting we had, you said that we had to put that on hold to release that information? Everybody here is paying taxes.
Who said
I
that?
don't know who said that. I wasn't.
You did.
So-
You remember that?
No, I sure don't, and that's why we have this.
You
Okay?
didn't carry a camera anymore, so you have to.
Okay,
remember,
I-
remember, sir, you better, sir, because you said.
Well, in which case I'd be glad to, review it. Okay, and I tried to do it the last meeting, and it wasn't able to be done, and you could make me a liar. I do not recall
I'm
that.
not calling you a liar. I'm just
Okay.
telling you what you said. And I'm asking you the same
Well,
question now.
Well, and she just answered, and I agree, there's no reason.
There wouldn't be any reason for
No.
that. So I don't understand why there's been such a pause in getting this information out. Because there really doesn't need to be this back and forth in between people that pay their taxes and work everywhere. I think we could have a better understanding of people that live there and have a better understanding, because we all want the same thing.
We all agree.
We all agree. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Well,
It could all have been handled at a regular meeting.
stuff that I'm not aware of, but I'm just telling you, what I don't understand is why there would be that pause and that information getting to the people to actually review the information and make a conscious decision based on a vote that's going to affect what they do and how they pay their taxes. And how they're going to pay their homeowners association dues, because to these new bylaws that you want to propose, it will be some increases to the people that actually pay taxes in the subdivision. And why would there be an increase in that, and what's going to be the benefit of these new added fees that are going to be associated with the homeowner association's proposed amendments to the other deed restrictions that are already in place? What is the purpose of the increase, and what is going to be the benefit of Ramblewood Estates and the people who pay taxes there?
For those of you hearing this, he's talking about page 21 of the restrictions, the assessments, to go from, I think we're currently at $97 a year to $200 a year, 3% increase the following year.
No, that's not correct. That's not correct. There's not an automatic increase, a maximum of 3% after the $200.
Okay, thank you. Up to 3% increase over the prior year's assessment without a vote of the members of the association on the following year.
Which is where it stands right now. The board can go up 3% a year.
Haven't y'all done that?
That's where we're at. We started at 60, we're at 97 after 30 years. And we're still the cheapest.
So the question I believe Mark asked you was, what is the...
What do you get for it?
Why did you go a huge jump?
Okay. Well, you get several things. You've been getting security, which we never envisioned, at a fee. You know, I don't know what the annual breakdown is, but you can go on the website and see what our expenses have been for the past 3 or 4 years, and it's broken down. So you've gotten security on an ongoing basis that we did not have 5 years ago, as an example. We're also, because of all the contention and stuff going on here, your board members are about ready to throw their hat out the window and go to a management company, and a management company would cost us $6 per lot per month. Okay, there's a possibility.
But when you speak to security.
I said $6.
$6.
Karen still has a full lease.
Or we get the security or we get the ticket?
That's not $72 a year.
Yeah, but when you, police officer.
Wait a minute,
Okay.
one's taking the floor, let's wait. Just a second, John.
There's a lot of expenses beyond the normal operation.
So one's answering Kevin's question. Are you happy with your answer?
Well, I understand the security issue, and I think that is important to the neighborhood, but I think it's disingenuous to think that you're going to actually pay somebody to do traffic enforcement for an area to specifically go in certain areas for a certain specific time. As a peace officer, and I've been in the law enforcement business for a better part of 27 years in the state, that's disingenuous to say that's a security measure. You're paying somebody to do traffic enforcement, basically, and stay in the neighborhood while they're paid. Is that true?
Your minutes reflected that it's a traffic enforcement job, is that not correct?
It's all of the. I think it's an all of the above job.
There for a lot of reasons.
Any.
Did your minutes reflect that it was for traffic enforcement, was my question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we have someone else, do you have a question, ma'am?
Right, please, can't hear.
I'm sorry, say again? Okay, let's go to 21, page 21 for you. It says, in the first paragraph of section 5.3, immediately following the date these restrictions are reported, maximum annual assessment may be increased effective January 1 of each year by an amount equal to a 3% increase. So that's how high they can go. They could do less if they wanted. That's the maximum. So the verbiage is a little different.
Yeah.
Yes, Julie?
On the dues, since we pay $200 a year, my understanding is it covers things like the ditch problem we had, and the water, and all the improvements that we've had to make due to some of the floods. I know some of these people were not living there in 1994 when we had floodwater in the San Jacinto River. And a lot of these homes flooded, and I remember going through and helping other people clean out their homes and some of the sewage and things. And my understanding is part of our dues does go to those type of improvements to where we have a different water flow. Am I incorrect or correct?
That's correct.
From the understanding of the water flow, I believe it was the water flow that goes to the San Jacinto River, not from the San Jacinto River. If the San Jacinto River comes out of its banks, the drainage that we have and that we put in place, does it or does it not address that? Bob?
It doesn't address anything coming out of the river. No,
So you're 94%.
because all of our, but we have had, we have spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on drainage in this subdivision, and since we've done that, we have not flooded, and there's still some more things that we'd like to do, and everything takes money.
Thank you for saying we have not flooded. So basically, as far as we know, it's been corrected.
Yes, it has, because I was in the flood zone, and since they've done the corrections, I'm no longer in the flood zone.
I was part of that correction. And we did a great job, Bob. You were a good part of that. We opened up to the lower gravel pit, which is, I think, owned by Baptist Church off of Ramblewood. As you drive out, it's on the left. that ditch alleviates the flooding off of your area. We took that dirt and we built a small levee about this high between the homes, even though it was illegal. We built that levee across there, remember? That kept the church, because when it rained really hard, you had waves come off that church, and it went over the ditch and flooded the back of people's homes. That small little hill we built was like a wave breaker. It stopped the water from flooding into the back of those homes on Ashwood. We corrected that. We put an extra culvert between Elmwood and Cedarwood, a 48-inch, if I'm not mistaken, to go into that. So that stopped the flooding on that end. We opened up flooding around to the other side of the neighborhood where the lady built that y'all are upset with the garage on. All that's been reworked, correct? So we did a tremendous amount of flood work that basically, since we did all that in this neighborhood, no one has flooded.
Right.
And let that be known. So you're saying we need to put more into flood. We haven't flooded. Did Ike flood anybody?
Well, I'm not sure what kind of improvements he's talking about wanting to move forward. It has helped me quite a bit. I've flooded twice. I live on Ashwood, and after we made the improvements, I've not flooded yet.
Did Ike flood you?
But again, that it doesn't help the floodwaters like in Niagara where the came out of the banks.
Yes, granted that, but I mean, as far as heavy rains and such, and, anyway, that's.
That was your point. That was a good point, Julie. Thank you.
Brandon?
I would just like to say, I would, maybe we could look, and maybe there are certain other things, I'm not real happy with the security we have. Maybe we could have something else to not have to run it up to $200.
I agree. I think that, really my purpose for wanting to come here and talk about these speed restrictions is it a yes or is it a no? And if there's one thing in here that you're not comfortable with or you don't like, you should vote no. Does that mean that we need to come back and that we can never look at these deed restrictions again, or that we can never? Of course not. We can go back and look at these as a community. We can enforce policies for our neighborhood on things we agree to. We can make changes to the ones that are existing here. I think that in our last meeting, Bob said that they've spent $7,000 in attorney's fees so far, and for deed restrictions.
No, I did not say that. I said we spent $7,000 in legal fees that had to do with your group.
Oh, I'm sorry. He spent $7,000 because I asked for a special meeting and I asked for open records, and because one of our homeowners filed in JP courts for the open records on her own without an attorney. You spent $7,000 for that. How much have you spent for deed restriction reviews and
Well, I'll give you the same answer I gave you last time. I don't know because I'm not the treasurer. I don't write the checks. But I do know that the majority of the funds that we spent this year.
Less than $1,000.
Pardon?
Less than $1,000.
Less than $1,000 since 2007?
Yes.
Okay, less than $1,000, so that's wonderful. So we only have $1,000 we spent on these. These are certainly not something we need to throw away, and they're something that we can work from. I don't think that we have to vote positive on this particular one if there's anything that we have a concern with. I think that we can work from these and move forward.
Do you think you can come up with a single set of document that's in these over?
And I've said to you before, and I'll say to you again, when we look at you and say to you, we can put policies and put them together, and we can put them in the county clerk's office and file them as a record, and they can determine what we go by in the subdivision.
Okay.
They are legal and law binding.
Yeah.
Other subdivisions have done that as well. Yes, they will be. They will be part of the deed restrictions as policies. Yes, Juan, they will. Thank you for your question. Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to move forward. We're not getting anywhere on these deed restrictions?
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned about, real quick, you mentioned that y'all are talking about going to a management company.
No, he wanted to tell us that to have a management company, it would cost $6 per lot per month. Is that correct, Bob?
Is that run by a lawyer?
No.
I had a home, 2 homes in Northwest Houston. Exactly what you just said, and they were run by a lawyer. You haven't experienced it. I have. You don't want that. Trust me. You do not want that. It made everyone miserable because the lawyer got a certain cut, or the manager or that company got a certain cut for every ticket they gave out for a violation. You don't want to do that. Trust me, I lived in it.
We didn't say we was gonna do that.
I have another question from an anonymous homeowner who wants to know why didn't the homeowners board have a meeting to discuss restrictions? Why did you choose not to have a meeting to discuss restrictions?
We have one.
No, sir, we didn't.
What do you mean we didn't have a meeting?
Anybody back here?
We had meeting in April, May, June, July.
But not about the new one that y'all just put out. You didn't organize a meeting for us to talk. That's why we organized a meeting for this.
So they was all emailed.
We got feedback. We asked for feedback from the entire subdivision. We had a committee assigned to take care of that. And the reason is just like right now, are we going to accomplish anything here tonight? I doubt it very much, you know?
Let's
Yeah.
turn to page 12 if you books.
Yeah.
I think we were on page 9.
We're going to 12 and 9.
We're on page 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
422 Luby into Martin Cedarwood Drive has a range on the front porch, a sink in the driveway, a small camper in the driveway, a trailer in the driveway, and the house is covered with mold and mildew and rotten weeds on the porch, and garage doors and yard is rarely moved and never edged. You had 5s on everything. That was important to you.
And you're saying.
About your neighbor.
Wait. You're saying that's for me, and when was that?
This was in 2009 that you said this was important to you at that time.
And you
So
know,
what I'm saying is,
as an officer of the board, for you to point out a person's name and what's sent to you, to an officer of the board is against the law?
well, you know what? Make it another lawsuit, okay? Whatever. But what I'm saying is,
Okay, so we
to
need
say
to-
that you, that's the problem is.
And we don't want you neither.
But what I'm saying is, this is what, we're not done anything secret to anyone.
Then why didn't you give us what we asked for? The records, no
We should do.
would have happened.
Nobody ever asked.
We have asked for them repeatedly.
You were doing this.
We've asked for records 2 different times, and we
A certified bill.
Nobody has come to and asked at a meeting, as much as y'all all talked about meetings, come to the meetings. There is not anything that's hidden from any of everybody. Everything, anybody can see anything.
Now until the end of the
You
year.
waited? Okay, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay,
What I'm saying is, everybody has talked, everybody had a chance to talk about the deed restrictions.
Teresa, please have a meeting for us to talk. Have a good meeting by the board.
Okay.